All right, everybody, as promised, this week's episode. What episode are we on? 11, 10, something like that. Uh, Today's episode is the first story episode. Story time. Not a story from my life, but a story, yeah, a short story by someone who actually knows how to write and tell short stories. But uh, yeah, this episode is The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. Um, we're gonna go a little bit over her life because the story's really short. I'm gonna leave a link to it in the description of this episode, along with a link to the notes. Which there's, I'm just doing that just because that's fucking what Chris Woods did, the dude who did oral presentations. The notes are, I say everything from the notes in the episode. And this particular episode has like no diagrams or drawings or anything, so there's no reason to look at the notes. It's just shitty handwriting. Looks like Arabic, honestly. Not even. I don't know what my handwriting looks like. I'd say chicken scratch is actually right. They really they got that one down. But yeah, The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. It's only like 7 pages, not even. So I'd recommend you go and read it. I think I did a pretty good job transcribing the story. Uh, I got it down in about a page and a half ish. So it's not going to be too long. And I'll try not to go out on tangents when I'm telling that story because I feel like if I do that too much, we're gonna kind of lose the plot. Um, but I'm gonna go out on a lot of fucking tangents when I'm talking about Shirley Jackson's life because I have a lot to fucking say about this lady's life. Um, but yeah, that's that. Um, I thought about doing an election special. Maybe I'll do one for the Wednesday episode. But dude, I had so many fucking ideas. One of them was going to be tips and tricks to help, it's like presidential assassination tips and tricks, and I was going to go over all the presidential assassinations and talk about what each person did well and what each person did wrong. Um, that was one of them. I was going to talk about rigged elections maybe, but then I was like, dude, no. Everyone's hearing all about that shit. It's just annoying. It's like even if you care a lot, it's still like hearing about it so much is like annoying. Like even me, dude. I'm on TikTok. My TikTok is like cats and autistic people, and I'm still getting shit about the election. Like that's the only things I like are like camping videos, autistic people, and animals doing weird things, and they're still trying to bombard me with that shit, dude. So I get no one will want to hear about it. I did think the presidential assassination one. I thought that might be funny if it ended up getting me in like serious like trouble. The FBI showed up to my house, dude, or to my dorm, but that's honestly one of the reasons I decided against it. Because, I mean, even though I'm talking about it right now, I'm joking. You know what I mean? But I think titling an episode "How to Assassinate the President," I feel like that's going to get you in trouble. Um, but yeah, I guess that's the prelude to this episode. Um, it's lock-in time, dude. The end of the semester. We got about 6 weeks left. Got a lot of writing to do, and that's 6 weeks including finals week for me. Which means that shit's gonna suck, dude. You're telling me I have to do everything I learned in fucking calculus, I have to do on one test? That's gonna be hard, dude. I'm just accepted. I'm getting a B in that class. There's no way to get an A. Calculus is impossible. Makes no sense. There's no reason to do it. It's one of those things. It's just one of those things. But no, there's literally no reason to do it. It's the most esoteric like form of math ever. Like algebra, I kind of get geometry maybe, but calculus, dude, you are out of your goddamn mind if you think that applies to anyone's life. uh, yeah, Shirley Jackson didn't know fucking calculus, dude, and she wrote what some consider to be the best short story of all time. Like really short, dude. Like when I was looking up short stories to do for this episode, some of them were like 50 pages, dude. I was like, what the fuck? I almost did one about dinosaurs, which could have been sick, but I was like, it just kind of seems boring, and there's not a lot to talk about there. Like there's no like theme to it, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, but apparently there wasn't either here. So, um, yeah, Shirley Jackson though. Let's just get into it. First thing I learned about Shirley Jackson, white. You guys weren't expecting this. And if you know the nature of the story, the lottery, it's even more surprising because it's like can be viewed as like a critique of like, I don't know, idyllic America in the 50s. So, yeah, a woman named Shirley Jackson who wrote short stories that were like critiques of America is white. Fucking blew my mind. I was like, no, they got the wrong one. Because like you Google it and it has like that thing where it has like the synopsis of the Wikipedia article and then like the person's picture above it. I was like, they got the wrong one, dude. This must be like Sharon Jackson or something, not Shirley. No way, no way. This is my queen, but no, she was. And white Shirley Jackson was born in San Francisco in 1916. Throughout her whole life, she had a strained relationship with her mother from the time she was born. Her mother didn't want kids like that early, so her mother told her this apparently, but she said she'd rather spend time with her husband than her kids, or with Shirley, and so yeah, that probably fucked her up. And her mother didn't like that Shirley wasn't like traditionally feminine and super social. So she's a writer, obviously, and from like a young age, she would rather like stay in the house and read and write than go out with people. And her mother didn't like that because that wasn't like at the time what a woman who's like a socialite does. And so it fucked her up. It didn't say anything about her dad. I imagine it's like normal, like 1920 shit. Like her dad doesn't really acknowledge her existence. He's drunk most of the time. Or not drunk, but buzzed most of the time. You know what I mean? Like Mad Men or whatever. That's what I imagine. That could be completely wrong. Her dad could rule. But judging by her choice in men, I fucking doubt it. I really doubt it. Um, she went to Burlingame High School where she played violin in another. So the Wikipedia article had like a blue link to the high school, and I was like, that's weird, dude. Like my high school definitely doesn't have like a Wikipedia article about it. And so I went to it, and it has like a ton of alumni. Other notable alumni includes Anthony Neely, a Taiwanese Mando pop singer, which Mando pop is short for Mandarin pop. And I was like, dude, that high school produced, I mean, just a hilarious group of people. There was like a professional tennis player, just like the most eclectic group of people. Like I feel like some high schools focus on sports, others on academics, and they'll have like a lot of people from that particular field. This dude, they had everything coming out of here. This fucking dude. Who else did they have? Fucking. I don't know if you've heard of Dear Abby. It's like a famous news article thing. They have like the person who writes that. It was crazy, dude. Um. Shirley, but throughout her like teen years and stuff in high school, Shirley had a lack of confidence, which was attributed to weight struggles in her teen years. And I was like, yeah, dude, that probably sucked in like the 1920s. Like people talk about how like the objectification of women now, dude. Imagine how bad it was in the 1920s, dude. They were probably fucking yeah, no, 1920s, like late 20s, early 30s. They were probably fucking destroying her. Probably not even the dudes either. Because I'll say as a dude, we do not care. I mean, no. Obviously, you care a little, but like, she's a little fucking. Who gives a fuck, dude? I'm not gay. She's still fucking hot. I might have said this on a previous episode, but I've figured out I'm so straight. I really, or maybe not even I'm so straight. I'm so horny. Like, I don't have a type. I'm like 90% of the women I look at that aren't morbidly obese. I'm like out of the fucking park. Unspeakable things. But maybe no one wants to hear about that, and fair enough, dude. If anyone just turned off the episode, I get it, dude. But I mean, Shirley. I'm not gonna talk shit about Shirley, dude. Shirley's a fucking boss bitch, as we'll find out later. Um, yeah, and she struggled with these weight issues when she was in high school, and also in her senior year of high school, her family moved to Rochester, New York, uh, where Shirley would eventually graduate. And in parentheses, I just wrote, that sucks. Because, dude, imagine going from, they were from like the Bay Area, like the Southern Bay, which I mean, I don't imagine it gets that cold, but I'll look it up real quick. But I feel like, dude, like upstate New York, uh, just fucking sucks. You know what I mean? It's just like Buffalo, dude. Yeah, mid 40s to the 50s Fahrenheit. That's fucking nothing. And then you go to Rochester, New York. Like, dude, they had to cancel NFL games in Buffalo, New York because of how much snow and how fucking cold and shitty it was. Imagine going from there, like the perfect, like 40s, 50s, dude. That's perfect winter temperature. I'm a winter hater, dude. Now that I'm in Minnesota, I fucking hate winter. And dude, it's coming, dude. I can feel the winter coming. It's gonna be so shitty. But I'm either gonna come out of this, dude, a fucking beast or the biggest bitch ever. Like either my brain's gonna be fried or I'm gonna be a dog. You know? I'm not talking shit about anyone from Minnesota. These people up here fucking love that shit. They're like walking around in like t-shirts and shorts. Just like, oh yeah, it's just another day. Shut the fuck up, dude. Give me my jeans and my hoodie. Where's my goddamn Carhartt at? But yeah, it is really shitty that she went from San Francisco to Rochester, New York, dude. What's worse than if you're from Rochester? I'm not talking too much shit. I imagine Rochester's just like it's England, dude. That's like the American England. It's called New England. It's just gray all the time. Everything's gray. The buildings are gray. I mean, at this time, it probably wasn't that bad, but still, dude. Actually, maybe this was like Great Depression time, so it probably fucking sucked. Maybe in the East it didn't suck as bad, but I can't imagine it was fun going from San Francisco to Rochester. And this was San Francisco at its height, dude. This isn't modern I'd still take San Francisco over Rochester. I'll say it. Suck my dick, dude. I don't know if you guys heard that. I just fucking wiped my nose and it made the most disgusting squishing noise. If you did, apologies. My deepest apologies. Um, and so yeah, she moved to the shittiest city on earth, Rochester, New York. After graduating high school, Shirley attended the University of Rochester, where her parents believed that they could keep a close eye on her. Uh, she took a year off though because she like hated it so much, and she transferred to Syracuse. And I wrote "Go Orange." I think that's what they say. If you're like a fan of Syracuse or whatever, you say "Go Orange." So I wrote that. That could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's right. And dude, Syracuse is probably so depressing that they have to like make like the most upbeat mascot ever. Like Miami rules so much that they made their fucking mascot the thing that like destroys that city every year, the Hurricanes, if you didn't know. And so I feel like there's a theme there. Like fucking FSU, fucking that place probably rules so hard just getting drunk all the time and is warm all the time. It's got to be like the greatest place on earth. And they made their thing the Seminoles, which was like I don't know. They fought bloody wars over them and shit. I just feel like there's something there. Uh, that was the most incomplete thought anyone's ever expressed out loud. While at Syracuse, she flourished and published her first story, which is called Janice, about a teenager's suicide attempt. And I was like, dude, this was like the 1930s. That's crazy that she did that. And like, I guess it was almost the 40s, but still, you don't imagine that shit, dude. Like, I almost did The Yellow Wallpaper, which is another like super famous short story, but I decided against it because it deals with a lot of shit that I just like feel like if I joke about it, people are gonna spur like mental illness and like women's rights and shit. Um, but that was written in 1892, dude. I thought that book was written in like the 1960s, and it like fucking like outright confronts like the shitty treatment of mentally ill people, specifically mentally ill women during the time. Um, and I was like, dude, that's just fucking crazy. Apparently, they were a lot more ahead of their time than like school makes you think. Like they make you think in 1930s, dude, these motherfuckers are clacking two rocks together, but nah, they were they were talking about shit, dumb shit. I mean, I don't. People killing themselves. I don't. It's not dumb, but it's like I don't know. I don't really. What am I gonna do about it? I don't really. That doesn't seem like the most interesting thing to me. It seems like the most. Like I feel like they always like romanticize like suicide and stuff, dude. And I feel like it's just a dude or a chick or like a person that's just barely functioning in life and is just like, all right, let's fucking call it. I feel like that's what suicide is 99.9% of the time. You know what I mean? I feel like it's hard to like glorify that or like make it not glorify it, but make it into something interesting. Like it's someone who's like not able to drag themselves out of bed every day. And you're trying to write like a super interesting story about it. I don't know. But I didn't think they could make a fucking interesting story about a lady locked in an attic, but they did. The yellow wallpaper. Which by the way, I might put a link to that one too, because it's like that's one of those stories that like I don't usually have like a visceral reaction to anything I'm reading, dude. That story made my fucking skin crawl, dude. It is so fucking like creepy and weird, and I get it. That's maybe not the effect it's supposed to have on you. It's supposed to be you're supposed to be like, wow, that really sucks for that lady, and that's honestly kind of what I'm thinking. But I'm thinking more about how much that would suck if that fucking happened to me, because that's how I can textualize everything. Which is honestly the best way to do it, dude. The ultimate fucking empathy. But I'll probably put a link to that one down in the description. It's a really good, even if you don't like, I'm one of those people, I've said this before, I never get like the themes when I'm reading something. Uh, I mean, I'm starting to do it now, but I still really don't give a shit, so I don't spend any time thinking about it. That one's just like a good read regardless. And so is the lottery, because it's only 7 pages too. It's like, fuck, you waste 10 minutes of your life, who cares? Um, but you could also get something out of it. So, and Shirley Jackson, the writing, it's good, but it's weird. I don't know how to describe it. And she learned writing in college, so she also met her husband, Stanley Edgar Hyman, who would become a renowned literary critic. Shirley also graduated with a bachelor's degree in journalism around that time. I think, let's see, how old is she? Yeah, so probably right when she met her husband, she graduated. Because she got married in 1940. She would have graduated in 38. So, yeah, right around when she graduated. Jackson had 4 children with her husband, all of whom were fictionalized in her works. She was the main breadwinner in the house and also did most of the housework. Um, she was also in an open relationship with her husband, much to her chagrin. And dude, her husband is so fucking gay, dude. I was like, all right, he's a critic. Like, okay, like maybe he's like, you know, being like a valid, like pointing out the goods and the bads. You know what I mean? Like elevating good stories and putting down bad stories. You know what I mean? Because like you need that in literature because you don't want, or I mean, if people like, if there's no, fuck, dude, my brain's fried right now. If there's no like ranking of the stories, then people aren't going to want to read anymore because they're going to encounter so many shitty stories. So I was like, maybe he was like that. And this lady rules. So I imagine her husband also ruled. And then I found out they were in an open relationship, basically because this dude couldn't stop cheating. And I was like, dude, this dude is so fucking gay. Like, you got this chick making all this money and you're still cheating on her? I mean, what a fat. I, I almost said it. I didn't say it. Um, but we're all, look, I'm not saying anything about gay people. I don't give a fuck. But this dude is a F slur. That's the only time you'll hear me censor myself on this podcast. That and like the N word are the only times you'll hear me censor myself. And dude, I just imagine this dude as, I don't know if you guys have heard of this guy, but there's this guy named Adam Conover who hosted this show called Adam Ruins Everything, where he came out and just fucking acted like a gay ass nerd for like 20 minutes or whatever. And that's how I imagine this dude. Like he's taking like a perfectly fine story and like dismantling it, being like, "That's not realistic." And it's like, dude, that's not the point of every story, you fucking bitch. God, I want to beat this dude's ass so bad. And it's not even like, look, Shirley, Shirley's fucking awesome, dude. and she's also dead, so it doesn't really matter if I say this. It's not like she's gonna hear it. She's not. She's a. She's an unfortunate looking woman, dude. But I mean, I looked up this dude. He's not doing any fucking better, dude. It's like, what are we doing here, guy? God, I just want to. This dude's so fucking gay. It's crazy. Um. Anyway, and so yeah, this is just kind of Shirley passed away at the age of 48 after years of declining health. So she had asthma. She fucking chain smoked constantly. She died when she was 48. Look, dude, I feel like she was kind of like checked out after a little while. You know what I mean? Like dealing with this fucking bitch all day. I'd do it too. And I feel like when I read the article, her kids also like low key talk shit about the dead. Yeah. So this dude, I'm gonna say it. I don't know. He's definitely dead, but yeah, he's fucking gay. Fuck that dude. What a bitch. During her life, though, Jackson wrote 6 novels, 2 memoirs, and over 200 short stories, mostly focused on horror and mystery. So, yeah, Jackson was kind of killing it. And, like, she's not one of those people that was like, or not Picasso, who am I thinking of? Van Gogh, who was, like, super not popular in his life, and then became, like, the most famous artist of all time. She was pretty, like, most people knew who she was. She's probably maintained a consistent level of like notoriety since like the 1960s. Dude, I did not go on nearly enough tangents during that, so I just I got nothing on my mind. The Diet Coke hasn't kicked in, dude. I'm not on my meth yet. Which, by the way, dude, I found out if I drink caffeine consistently, I become like super sensitive to it. Like I'll drink like half like a cup of Coke and just have my heart beating out of my fucking chest, like sweating. Dude, it's like meth. If I did meth, I think I would die. And that sucks for me because meth sounds so awesome, dude. I feel like I was watching a clip of one of those rehab fucking things or whatever. I think it was intervention, dude. And I was like, God damn, dude. And it was this lady on meth, and they were showing like how she acted on meth, and I was like, dude, I can like look. Obviously, you shouldn't do it, but there's a reason people get addicted to that shit, dude. It's probably the most fun ever, you know? Just your brain is firing on all fucking cylinders. You're thinking of every thought that anyone's ever had all at once, dude. It's probably fucking crazy. But Shirley Jackson would never do meth, dude. She would. Shirley Jackson, I feel like exclusively smoked unfiltered, like 90% tar cigarettes. 'Cause she just fucking rules like that. Or she was just like a self. It doesn't sound. It sounded like she was like a pretty good person, pretty solid woman all around, a solid bitch. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna give Shirley fucking rules. Uh, great writer too. And speaking of her writing, maybe I'll take a second, but yeah, I'm gonna take a break real quick, wet the palate, and then we can get into this story. It's gonna be fire. Get ready for it. All right, we are back, dude. I had to take a sip of the DC, dude, just to get me ready for this, just to get me hyped up, dude. A nice hit off the meth pipe. This story, I read this story in high school, and I low key forgot I read it. Um, and I reread it, and it's about the same in terms of like how good it is. But this is definitely one of those things where it's like I'm just missing something, dude. Because it's like a good story for sure. Like I'm not shitting on it, but like it's ranked as one of like the best short stories of all time. Among like short stories that have like that are 10 times longer than it. So it's like it's got to have something that I'm just missing. But I read it and I was just like, fucking yeah, it's a good story, but I mean, I don't know. Um, and even when I read like the critic reviews or like analysis of it, I was like, even these people don't really know what's going on. It seems like Shirley Jackson herself doesn't know what's going on. Which I mean, maybe that's why it's so good because it's like a good story that kind of can be interpreted in many ways. Oh, who knows? But yeah, I recommend you listen to it yourself. but I'm gonna try to get through this and not go on any tangents. I mean, dude, I don't know. This episode has not been very good so far. I've been putting out a couple stinkers so far, or in like the last few weeks. So apologies. I feel like it did, and this is all Reed. Fuck, maybe I shouldn't have said his name. That's a common enough name. If you're listening to this, I'm gonna blame it on him, dude. Because I'm just playing Fortnite with him, dude, joking around, using all my good material for the episode. All my good material, dude. It's just me being like kind of homophobic. That's my only material, dude. It's good material though, especially now with like the pendulum swinging the other way, dude. With Shane Gillis being like the most popular comedian in America, being slightly homophobic is the funniest anyone can be. But I'm also a bit of a contrarian, so I might go fucking woke as hell. Now that unwoke shit's becoming popular, I might become the most woke. So who knows, dude? In a few weeks, I might be talking about Palestine, a country that I care and know a lot about. All right, let me tell you about Israel and Palestine, and like making the most like thinly veiled jokes of all time. Like, look, it's just a joke. All right, it's like, dude, I hate when people do that. When they make like when they're trying to make like a point about something and they make it in like the form of a thinly veiled joke, and then you're like, dude, why are you like trying to make this point right now? Who gives a shit? And it's like, it was a joke. It's like, dude, I can tell it wasn't a joke because we all do the same thing, but like, goddamn, just shut up, you fucking nerd. Dude, maybe it's Shirley Jackson's husband that has me acting this way. Because that guy just sucks the most, dude. I I can't imagine like obviously I can imagine a worse person. Hitler, number one, dude. I'll say it right now. I think Hitler, no good, bad guy. But I mean, this dude, just like in terms of people that are like haven't broken any laws or whatever, and he kind of has, dude, cheating on his wife constantly. I feel like that breaks like I feel like they had laws about that shit back then. But anyway, just like a dude that's like you can't. There's nothing legally that bars him from being this shitty, but he still is. I feel like he's maybe the peak of that. Truthfully, this guy, he just sucks so much, dude. I I want to give that motherfucker a swirly so bad, dude. That's what it is. I just need to like picture myself, take a moment. You know how like people in like therapy or something like go to their happy place and it's like a babbling brook or whatever, dude. This dude pissed me off so much. I have to like vividly imagine giving him a swirly. Just dumping his head in like a piss-filled toilet, dude, and just flushing that shit on his head. Oh, and he comes up, dude. His hair's all messed up. His glasses are hanging off his head. I'm like, yeah, you dumb fucking book nerd. The worst kind of nerd. At least like science nerds like might like figure out how to cure cancer or like go to Mars or some shit. This dude's just like the worst kind of fucking nerd. He's not helping anyone. Like anime nerds, he's like I feel like that's like the back then version of like an anime nerd or whatever. And not like all anime nerds obviously, but like you guys know what I mean. I feel like that's what this guy was. Just like talking about shit no one gives a fuck about, just talking your fucking ear off, and it's like, dude, I don't care. I could not care less about this. And like, he thinks he's a shit. God damn it, dude. This guy's pissing me off so much. But let's just get into the story, dude. Shirley, I know it was the 40s, but you should have left his ass, dude. That's not no man. That's not no man, girl. But if I'm telling you, dude, if Shirley was black instead of white, if she was black like she should have been, she'd have fucking left his ass, left his sorry ass. She said, "I don't need no man." And a lot of women say they don't need no man. Shirley really doesn't need no man, dude. I'll give it to her. She's a beast. But anyway, let's just get into the story. So the lottery. We open on an idyllic American village. And it's very rural. People are gathering in the town square. Children are playing and gathering stones. So I was trying to picture this in my head, and apparently it is like imagine like a 1950s like kind of suburban setup. That's kind of where we are, but it's like super rural. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's still like a village, but it's a modernized village. That's where we're at. And so As people continue to trickle into the square, mothers and fathers begin calling their children together, um, and families gather into separate groups. Mr. Summers, the town civic leader, enters the square with a black stained wooden box containing many slips of paper, which he mixes up with his hands. So, yeah, we're in the town square. People are gathering. They're gathering specifically into their families, into like groups of their families. And this dude pulls up. Um, and he's not like a government official or anything, but he is, like I said, the civic leader. I think he said he was like a coal dude, and the reason he is the civic leader is because he has more time than everyone else because of his job. Like he's super rich already, so it doesn't matter. And this box that he's carrying, it is as old as the oldest man in town. Which, like I said, Shirley's writing, it's kind of weird, but it's good. And I thought that was like a very funny, like simple way of putting something. Like, what's the oldest thing you can think of? And it's like an old dude. I don't know. I thought that was funny. And it is revealed that this tradition has been maintained for generations. And so it kind of goes into a little more detail, but you get the gist, dude. It's just kind of an old thing that they do that they continue to do. It's changed, but it's the same. The box is stored in random places around town, and I was like, because as I was reading this, I knew I was gonna do it. I was gonna like analyze it after the podcast, and I was like trying to understand the significance of that, and I couldn't find one. It's like this important thing, but it's like it's not really cared about unless it happens in the tradition. I'm just gonna put it like that, and maybe someone will figure it out. But I mean, I couldn't. Um, Many of the rituals surrounding this tradition, though, have been lost. Mr. Summers addresses the crowd, and one final attendee arrives. She forgot what day it is, which I feel like there's something there's something about like all like these. They're forgetting about the traditions. They're losing this. They're losing that. People don't really care about it anymore. And I don't know. I could not figure it out for the fucking life of me. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I thought about it for about a minute and a half, so that's probably why I wasn't able to figure it out. But if I thought about it for 10 minutes, I probably would have. I probably would have gotten some. But fuck it, dude. Who really cares? Even if I had like a cohesive point or like an understanding or like what this is an analogy of, it probably wouldn't be right anyway. So who really cares? But yeah, I feel like there'd be more symbolism. But Summers starts the lottery again unceremoniously, saying, "Let's get this over with so as we can go back to work." So yeah, no one really gives a shit about this thing, but or not like a total shit about it. It doesn't. It seems like it's just part of like this just everyday life, like Thanksgiving or something, maybe. I don't know. Um, but anyway, after he says that, he also asks if several people are there because traditionally the way it works is that the fathers draw the slips of paper out for each member of their family as a whole. But um, some people, like one lady, her husband's injured. Another, like his mom and his dad died, so he has to draw it out. But anyway, uh, a few people are forced to draw instead of their fathers or husbands. Um, Mr. Summers begins giving directions before calling up the heads of household, and it also notes that no one, like, this is just so normal to them. They've all done it so much that no one's really listening to the directions. Um, but people in the crowd continue to talk as men are called up to take a slip of paper each. So they're kind of talking about the the ceremony, the lottery. I'm gonna I don't know why I was calling it the ceremony, the lottery. Um, but they're also kind of not. They're just talking about random shit a little bit, but it's focused on the lottery. So it's somewhat important. Um, and all right, yeah, people in the crowd talk about how some towns have given up the tradition. Old Man Warner, who's the guy that he's the oldest dude in the town, uh, rejects this, saying that nothing good could come of it. Yeah, he's basically just saying that the towns that have stopped doing this lottery, nothing good can come of it, and that they're listening to the young folks too much, which is bad. And like that, they're letting the young folks tell them what to do. And so, yeah, uh, I'm just trying to stay focused on the story, no tangents. After everyone draws their papers, Mr. Summers calls out, asking who has the marked slip. The crowd turns to face a speechless Mr. Hutchinson. Tessie, Mr. Hutchinson's wife, protests, saying that it isn't fair, but the villagers tell her that it is done this way. So, yeah, everyone draws a piece of paper. One of them is marked, and we'll get to what happens to the marked paper. But this lady is like, this isn't fair. Like, you guys rigged it against us. And she's saying, like, let's do it again. Like, let's redraw it. Because I know you didn't let him get the piece of paper he wanted. But the husband's just kind of like, yeah, we got it. But yeah, anyway, that's how it goes for them. And then after that, 5 slips of paper are put back in the box, one for each member of the Hutchinson family. And so, still during this point, this lady is still like protesting it, being like, it should be 7 slips because we have 2 kids, but 2 of her kids are like married to people in other families. And so, like, what this lady's freaking out about this shit, and we don't really know what's going on. Like, we don't know what happens to the person who gets the final slip. Um, and she's like kind of fighting this whole thing the entire time, like it's not fair, it's not fair. But Summers and his helpers are jovial as they help the Hutchinson children draw their slips. So yeah, these kids are like really young; they can like barely draw the slips of paper out themselves. And so these guys, like one of the kid accidentally pulls out 2 papers, and the guy's like, "Don't do that, little guy. You only want one." And like they're pretty chill about the whole thing, but this lady's like freaking out, kind of. Everyone has their slips, and the air is palpable with excitement as people speculate who has the marked slip. Mr. Warner says it's not the way it used to be, which is, I don't know what he was saying that in reference to. I was thinking about it. Maybe like little kids used to not have to draw for the lottery, or like maybe he's talking about how like Tessie, uh the wife of Mr. Hutchinson, is like screaming and yelling about it, and how like that isn't how it used to go down. Or maybe he's talking about the slips of paper themselves, because apparently they used to be wood chips, but now they're slips of paper. Um, but anyway, that's what he says, and I was trying to analyze that one too, and I couldn't get it. One by one, the family opens their slips until it is revealed Tessie has the marked slip. So the ladies that have been screaming about this whole time has the marked slip. And I was thinking maybe she knew it was going to be rigged so that she had the marked slip, and maybe she didn't, and that's why she was like screaming so much. Or maybe she just like the chance of it happening to her, she just didn't want to have to deal with it. But Mr. Summers turns to the crowd and tells them to hurry up and get it over with. The villagers, up to this point, had forgotten much of the ritual, but remembered one part: the stones. The villagers take up the stones, and Warner encourages them as they depend upon Tessie. She continues to protest. So, yeah, it's it's said that one rock hits her in the side of the head, and she's like, "Stop, stop! We don't have to do this." But yeah, they stone her to death, which is, yeah, and that's how the story ends. And keep in mind, this is all taking place in like a modern, idyllic American town, or like modern for that time. So this isn't like some 1600 shit or whatever. Um, so yeah, when I've read it both times, I couldn't like imagine like it being a modern town, which I think maybe that's why it's so good, because it forces you to have to think about violence in modern society or whatever. Oh, I'm just like so deep and like understand books and stuff. But yeah, that's how the story goes, and that's how it goes for Tessie. Um, and I'm gonna So we got some like reactions and analysis of the story, but so reactions. The general reaction was an uproar of demands asking Jackson to explain why she wrote it. And you got to remember, this is 1948. So yeah, these people were dead. But honestly, dude, we just killed like 300,000 civilians and like three, or like probably 400,000 civilians in like three different like bombings in World War II. So, and they're getting this pissed over a story, dude. I don't know. But anyway, Jackson stated she didn't really know why she wrote it, but hoped that this work would shock readers into seeing the pointless violence and general inhumanity in their own lives. So that made me think about World War II when she said that, but which is like sometimes I'll read these things and I'll like look at the analysis and I'll be like, the book was good, but the point the author was trying to make is fucking stupid. Like I read The Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut last week or a couple weeks ago. I don't really remember, but like the whole point of that story is that like human violence is like a constant no matter where you are in life. And I was just like, or like inhumanity, and I was like, dude, I don't like that's just kind of fucking stupid. You know what I mean? It's like it it's like nihilistic, and it's like I don't know. I find nihilism to be one of the dumbest things ever. So it's like you're just gonna give up. That's it. That's all. Some people are shitty, and so you're not gonna try at anything in your life. Like that's how I think about nihilism. It's just so fucking dumb to me. You can like think that everything is absurd, and that's fair enough. But like just being nihilistic because some people are shitty is so fucking stupid to me. It's like the most like teenager shit ever. You know what I mean? It's like the most short-sighted way of thinking about things. Um, but I don't know. Maybe Jackson was a nihilist, and that's why she didn't care that her husband was a giant piece of shit, and that's why she smoked cigs until the day she died. I don't know. It kind of seems like she didn't really give a shit about anything. Maybe she wasn't like an active nihilist, but she wasn't like, oh, I'm a nihilist, but in the way she lived her life, she was. That's kind of what it seems like to me. And at least with this story, that's kind of what it seems like in her head. But um, anyway, reader reactions. At first, readers were upset, but later they became curious as to what the story meant. And so yeah, they were mailing her hella letters, asking her what it meant, and she was like, "Dude, I don't know. I just kind of wrote that shit." You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. I was trying to think of a comparison in my own life, but I have a podcast that's shitty about 90% of the time, so I'm not really a Shirley Jackson figure. And I don't think that's crazy to say. But some critical analysis has drawn comparison to the Salem witch trials, whereas others view it as a critique of capital punishment in contemporary society. So I think both of those are kind of. I get the Salem witch trial one, like that makes sense. Like that was like pointless violence. That was like violence that, um, fuck it. That was like facilitated by like that super like conservative society at the time, and it's like, yeah, everyone knows that was shitty. I don't think anyone's arguing that it wasn't, but um, or maybe that they're trying to say like that there's modern Salem witch trials or whatever, which I guess, but fuck you want me to do about it, dude? um, I think it's dumb to draw the comparison to capital punishment because if there ever was a necessary violence, that's it. Or like no matter what you think, I feel like that's like the type of violence that you have to view as necessary. You know what I mean? Because like some dudes just gotta die. Sorry, whatever is waiting for you is waiting for you. You can't be here anymore. It's just the way it is. But brother, I'm sorry it ended up for you that way, but you don't belong here. um, um, goddamn. The story was published just 2 days after the military draft was reinstated, causing many to draw a comparison. Which that one I kind of get. Like we're sending like random people to die for something that we really don't understand. You know, especially like. But this was written in 1948, and so it's like the most recent example of the draft being used was World War II, which completely necessary. Or like it's not really, most people aren't going to look at that and be like, we shouldn't have done it, dude. We shouldn't have fought the Nazis and the fucking Japanese. Should have just let it be. But, or maybe she was like, she saw that and she kind of saw the writing on the wall of like, maybe not exactly Vietnam, but something like Vietnam happening. She's like, fuck, dude, we can't let that happen. Because, I mean, she also had kids that were of the age to fight in that war. And so maybe she saw the writing on the wall, dude. Maybe that's why she wasn't able to properly explain it before her death. Because she was like, I'm just waiting for this thing to happen that I know was going to happen. But until it happens, people are going to think I'm crazy if I say it out loud. So, or maybe she was just like fucking bored one day and wrote the story. Who knows? It's only 7 pages. It's not like she dedicated her life's work to this. So she might not have a thought about it in the world. She might have like put that shit out and was like, whatever. Who cares? But yeah. What I think is, I think kind of what she's saying is that I think Jackson is trying to get us to analyze our own arbitrary traditions that that the violence that comes with them. And I was like, maybe back then it applies. I think she's trying to get us to look at a bigger picture. I take back what I said. I think she's trying to get us to look at like, I think the draft is probably maybe the most accurate one, or like just us going to war for no reason. Which, I mean, dude, her and fucking who else? Dwight D. Eisenhower called their fucking shot with that one, dude. If that's what Shirley was trying to write about in this story, she fucking hit the nail on the head with that one. Absolute banger. Because goddamn, yeah. And Eisenhower, if you don't know, he predicted like the military-industrial complex, or like he warned against it, but kind of also predicted it. And so, dude, if those two called their fucking shot like that, shout out to them, dude. That's what makes some people just objectively better than others. Like some people are just better. And that's fucking life, dude. Like me, my brain's barely working right now. I just did 45 minutes of a podcast and somehow my brain, that fried my brain. It fried my brain after 20 minutes, if you couldn't tell. So, and that's the difference between me and Shirley Jackson. To be fair to myself, I'm also really not eating shit. So, I don't have the necessary nutrients to make my brain function. So maybe once the cut's over, this will turn into the fucking greatest podcast ever. Who knows? Probably not. It'll probably just turn into me being more openly homophobic instead of quietly homophobic, but who knows? Um yeah, that's all I've got for Shirley Jackson, dude. I think this is beyond my comprehension, but I think I did a decent job telling it. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect the first time around, but I think it wasn't bad. Um but yeah, this week, I think this week for the mini episode, we'll do temperate rainforests. I think that's what I have. And then next week, we might be doing something different. We might be doing something. You might want to look at the notes for what I'm doing next Saturday. But I also might not, because I have to write like 4 fucking pages of an essay, or of 2 essays this week. I don't have to do it this week, but I probably will, just to get it over with, because I don't want to have to deal with that when, finals are coming up and shit. So if you think this episode was bad, if you think my lack of talking and my lack of, or and just the general shittiness of my jokes was bad this week, dude, wait for next week when I'm fucking, after writing like 25, more than 2,500, dude, probably like 4,000 words of an essay that I don't care about, of a topic that means nothing to me and won't ever mean anything to me, which is, I mean, goddamn, dude. I'm not gonna say what class it's for, but honestly, no, I'll say it. Fucking anthropology, because there's no way anyone from my school figures this out. If anyone from my school even listens, dude, that class is just ever. Apparently, everyone in that class hates it as much as I do, which is like very reassuring. Because I was like, am I being just like a? Because I'm like a lazy dude, right? And so I was like, am I just being like a lazy fucking a whiny piece of shit about this class? No, dude. Everyone, that class is a stinker. Absolute fucking poop. absolute turd biscuit of a class. But look, and I'm not talking shit about the professor or whatever. I'm just saying that class fucking sucks. I don't. It's just I don't care about any of it. It's the class is also funny because it's like, oh, I didn't know this chair could go down. But anyway, like the class is like it's either like the most broad, like general truth, like people are social, or it's like the most hyper specific example of like, I don't know, trading in like rural Indonesia or whatever. That's what that class is, and it sucks. I don't like it. But honestly, I probably won't like any of my classes for the rest of my college career. But that's fucking life, dude. You just gotta keep on trucking. Um, like I said, like I predicted last week, dude. I'm the Shirley Jackson of podcasts, and I'm out here predicting shit no one could think of. But like I said last week, this episode's not great. Um, but like I always say, these are the test episodes. These are practice. Practice for what? Probably the exact same thing, just further down the line. But like I always say, dude, that's fucking life. Nothing we can do about it. Um, but if you did listen to this episode, thank you. Hope you have a great week. I won't do an election special. I'll probably make a bunch of jokes about the election. Look, when I say jokes, just know I know they're not funny. I'm just like I'm trying to be funnier on the podcast, not in real life. I don't really care about that. But on the pod, I am trying to get funnier, trying to make more relevant jokes to what I'm talking about. Um, but yeah, I'll try not to talk about it seriously. You guys know if anyone listening to this has also listened to the episodes or the mini episodes, you know I get a little fucking Fox Newsy, but that's life. I've said that one so much this episode. My brain is so fried that that's the only thing I can think of is just that's life. Um, so I hope you have a great week, great day, great year, great rest of your year. If you're listening to this in November or December or January or anytime, I hope shit keeps going well for you or gets better. Um, and yeah, I'll see you guys on Wednesday, maybe, hopefully, probably not. But yeah, have a good one. All right, peace.